On tonight's episode, we'll be talking about what is marriage potential. Hey, this is Empress,
Hey, yeah, this is Shizil.
and this is our new show where we discuss various things going on in our community. So, welcome everybody. Tonight, we are talking about marriage potential and what is marriage potential. So, Shizil, tell me like what do you guys think about marriage? Well, what do you think about marriage potential? What do you think it is and what it means?
Well, but first, I do have to say I'm not married, so I can only go so far. But I think one thing that is missing in our culture today is a lot of us are not courting anymore. We're not dating anymore. We're not getting to really know the individual. And myself would like to engage in that. A lot of us can move a little too fast. I think if we start to get to know the individual a little bit better before we start moving along, just having a clarity of the status of our relationship before we really figure out, is this person husband material, wife material? Let's sit down and really get to know each other. Um, so see if this is something you can compromise with, because that's something that's big in our relationships and definitely very important for me. If you can communicate with this individual, what regardless of if you are an entrepreneur, if you in corporate America, like what is the business of the family? Like what type of plan do y'all have for your children, for your grandchildren? Someone who I can sit down and talk about that. I had even had this one gentleman, he told me that he'd rather someone respect him over love. And I feel like that's
Wow.
something that goes hand in hand. Like, and I don't know, what are your views on that? He literally said he'd rather someone respect him than love him because I guess that was fulfilling for him because he
Yeah,
was,
that was his
you know,
love language.
a lot of people he see, they love each other so much, but they get on each other's nerves, they disrespect each other. And I was just like, it's almost as if you can't have one without the other. No, I
Yeah.
think it's possible.
So I see where he's coming from with that as far as respecting them over loving them of whoever he's with or his spouse that he's with.
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel like marriage potential is the willingness of somebody to work on a relationship because the
Mm-hmm.
misbelief of marriage is that it's going to be simple, right? Like we all think
Okay.
that marriage is this easy thing. I know I was in a relationship with somebody and he told me quick, this ain't no fairy tale. Like you have this whole ideology, like it's gonna be happily ever after, it's gonna be this, that, and the other. And I had to learn quick because it was like my first serious, well, no. Well, yeah, I would say like super, super serious relationship. It was my first super serious relationship since uh like while I was in college or whatever. I'm out of the house,
Mhm.
I'm on my own or whatever. And I'm still thinking like, oh, it's gonna be sunshine and daisies and just being in a relationship. And it's not. And it goes hand in hand with being married to somebody. Like you wonder how do all these people stay married for 70 plus years? And it's because they are willing to work on everything together. They're willing to communicate with each other. They're willing to say like and put their pride aside and say, you know what, I know this is how I feel, but what's the bigger picture? So for me, marriage material or marriage potential is that person willing to, I don't want to say compromise, but willing to put the work in to
Mhm.
be married to somebody or be committed to somebody. And also, if you can keep your bodily parts to yourself or to your spouse, that's marriage potential for me because, and that's the G-rated version of that because
Mhm.
if you can't be committed to me in just a dating type of relationship, then how can I expect you to do that while we're married? Because marriage is only going to heighten whatever you guys are doing
Exactly.
right now. So whether you guys are angry at each other all the time, that's going to heighten that. Whether you guys are happy and getting in love and best friends, it's just going to heighten that. So I feel like to have the potential to be married, like you need to have the willingness to put in the work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I also feel like, finances aren't everything, but if you're not financially able to support yourself, let alone
Mm-hmm.
somebody else, and this is for men and women, because sometimes your man may lose his job. He may get hurt or whatever, and you have to pick up the slack. If you're not financially prepared to do that, or you don't know how to handle finances, then
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't feel like you're marriage potential. I'm not going to date somebody who is bad with money. Not to say I'm not going to date somebody who doesn't have money, but if you don't
Yeah.
know how to handle your finances, I don't care if you work and flip burgers, but if you don't know how to handle those finances, then how are you going to handle me? And then when I get married, I want to have more kids. How are you going to handle me and our family and keep our household together if you can't
And that's
manage your
and
finances
that's
regularly?
yeah, I was about to say, and that's what we expect when we start to really start to break down, even look back into our ancestors, like looking at the roles of the man and woman. Like we all know that the man is supposed to be the provider in a
Right.
sense. And even if it's him being able to help form that family structure and how we're going to move forward with certain things, like just take on that lead role
Yeah.
so we know how we're flowing with things. There's a couple of things you said earlier that's one to bring up. I know you was talking about as far as the sharing aspect. I have a starting to understand and believe in the polygamy ways, and
Hmm.
that's a whole another topic that we'll get back to you all with.
Yes, we're gonna
But
talk about that later.
that's I have some different viewpoints with that if it's done correctly, because there's an
Yeah.
incorrect and a correct way. But something else you were saying, just as far as us being able to grow with each other and deal with each other, I think we all love Medea. At least some of them. It was one movie I remember her saying like, you don't marry that one person at the altar. You marry several people because we're going to
Hmm.
continuously evolve. Like whoever you marry that day is not going to be the same person in a year, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years. Because that's the point. Then we're not changing, we're not evolving.
Right.
So we have to understand like what we're getting into from the get go. You're not going to marry. You're not going to be married to the same person you was married to on day one.
Okay. So I've looked at something on um online, and I'm gonna read it to you. It says, if 10 signs that he's husband material. And I
Okay.
want to get your thoughts on it. Because y'all know the internet loves to have these different quizzes and everything. This goes back to even before the internet. I used to remember seeing people have in the back of those magazines, wives would just like, answer the questions or whatever. So there's always been like little quizzes to see if he's marriage material. But it says number one, he loves your good qualities and he accepts and embraces the bad without making you feel guilty for having flaws. Number two is he's there for you when you need him, even if it's inconvenient for him. Three, considers you when making decisions, both big and small. Four, he's growth oriented. Five, you guys have common beliefs and values. Six, he views you as your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Seven, he is willing to put into the effort into the relationship. Eight, you're able to communicate with each other, even about tough issues, and even if one person is upset. Um, and nine, he's trustworthy. And 10, he wants to marry you. Now, I have my thoughts on it, but I want to hear what you say.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, I can agree with just about everything. I know the first thing that's really coming to my mind, like, we're looking for this in this individual, but are we checking ourselves as well and making sure that we are giving the same energy that we're trying to receive? Because that's what we get messed up at. We
We want
want
them to do everything for us, but we're not bringing anything to the table. We're not trying
exactly,
to uh,
exactly.
communicate with them. We're not trying to do
Mhm.
anything. We just want all the doting and affection on us. I have an idea of why that is, but I'm gonna let you.
I want to hear this, but no, like I literally sincerely agree with all of that. And I think one of the biggest things that did stick out to me is that the spiritual belief faith system.
Yeah.
I've seen relationships where people, one might be atheist, one might be a Christian, one
Oh
might be a
my.
Christian, one might be a Muslim. somehow, some way,
They weren't.
to each his own. But I can have seen the tension when someone has certain belief systems. If it's for one, I think the ones that do work is a genuine love and respect. Coming back with that, it is a respect when it comes to that. If regardless of anybody's spiritual background, like I be wanting to learn more. Like tell me, I love to be educated. Just let me know.
Right.
It's just a respect thing. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like regardless of who like you want to claim as a religion or spirituality, we all know it's just one. It's one God, it's one Creator, it's one Most High. At the
Right.
end of the day, however you choose to commune, that's on you. But um, that is something that I do know with most people can really have some tension. So for me, I used to say to myself, like it's three different ways I want to be stimulated. Like stimulate me mentally,
Mm-hmm.
stimulate me spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Before you try to come around here and stimulate me physically,
Right.
because all that just has to flow.
Right.
So we have to make sure that we in some form of an order in a sense. But yeah, but definitely reciprocate the energy.
Yeah, I think that um I love that because a lot of people want to just stimulate you physically and they don't care about the mental and spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like you brought up an amazing point as far as we as the woman don't always try to reciprocate and make sure we are marriage ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like it goes back to in the courting days where the women didn't have to do anything. All she had to do was look pretty,
Exactly.
make sure, she was dressed properly. That's all she had to do. And the man just wanted her based off her looks. They didn't care anything else about her. They didn't care if she could hold a conversation. It didn't matter because she had no, I don't want to say didn't have any value, but she had no say in anything. And now that we're transitioning into men are now marrying for love versus I'm just marrying you because I want this dowry or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
you know they want to say I want to be able to communicate with you too. Like men want us to be marriage material just as much as we want them to be marriage material, and we
Mm-hmm.
we may not be marriage material. I can tell you now I ain't married. That's
Mm-hmm.
not to say I'm not marriage material, or I don't have marriage potential. It's just I feel like at certain stages in my life, I have a lot of growing to do, and certain relationships that I've been in has helped me to grow. Uh, but I really do feel like it goes back to that court stage. Like we just feel like, oh, they should do everything for us. We don't have to do anything. All we have to bring to the table is our great looks and
Mm-hmm.
keep our body right. And it's not that way anymore. Every with us being the strong black woman or whatever, I feel like we need to be that strong person to attract
Mm-hmm.
who we want in a partner so that, the potential that he has really is a mirror of us. Because I feel like in each
Mm-hmm.
relationship, who we're with is a mirror of who we are. And
Yeah.
vice versa. And for man, if your woman is happy, it's a mirror of what you're doing. So I feel like, we as women have a lot of things that I don't want to say a lot of things because there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of women who are married. But I'll say that, some of us, there's a lot, we're so focused on if he's marriage potential and we're not focusing on if we're
Mm-hmm.
marriage potential.
Yeah.
And we have to realize he's the one asking us. I promise you I will never, ever get down and propose to no man. I have seen it time and time again. It's a lot. And I've talked to a friend of mine and he was like, wow, times are changing, strong woman. I said, not this strong woman. Because I
It's
still have a sense of
true.
I want the man to be attracted to me. And it's kind of like if you look at
Mm-hmm.
lions, the male lion is going to pursue that female lion. she ain't going out there pursuing him. She may, set herself up a little bit so that he can
Mm-hmm.
see, but she's not going to go to him. So I just feel like we need to make sure we're ready for marriage and we have the potential
Mm-hmm.
to lead a household, because even though we say the man is head of household, we lead that household.
Mm-hmm.
As the woman, we're the ones running the house. Say if we're, homemakers, we're at home running the house. So I feel like all this talk around if the man is marriage potential, no, we gotta really look at ourselves and see if we're marriage potential and see if we're ready for marriage.
I agree. I think one of the last points I do want to make is to encourage anybody. Like, I really believe that you can have more than one person to check off certain things that you're looking for, that you feel like there's potential for you. But that doesn't necessarily mean you will connect with everybody that you're checking those things off.
Yeah, it's
And
a lot more than just a marriage checklist.
yes, like it's just so much more. So never settle. Like,
Yeah,
people are beginning to settle in relationships because
they just
they
want the
just don't
title to say I'm married.
think that's what's like, there's nothing else better than that. Like, there's a woman who I know and highly respect. She did not get married. Her first marriage was in her like early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me that the best thing she could have ever done was to wait.
Wow.
And like, I can only respect it. Like, Lord knows, like, we don't want to be alone out here.
We
But
don't. And waiting till 50 is like,
look, but and I mean, it's gonna be a bad situation. But at the same time, though, what God has laid out for us with the Creator, with the Most High, whoever you want to call it, I am, whoever is out there for us, it's already laid out. We
yeah,
literally just have to focus on what we're supposed to be out here doing.
yeah,
Like, we came into this world alone. We got work out here to do alone in a sense, but we ain't gotta die alone.
right.
But seriously, I really truly believe that there's just certain, I guess you can almost say, like, milestones that I think the Creator kind of have us doing before we get to that level. And then
Yeah,
also have relationships that we felt like that could have been the one, that could have been like the one you let get away or X, Y, and Z. Sometimes I feel like when those things transition out of our lives, it's just showing us that the Creator is going to do even better than what you had. Like,
what you
it's
had
like,
in mind.
if I was able to experience that type of love, or like, this made me feel this way, like, just knowing that He always has something greater in store for you.
Yeah,
I mean, I think when we are even praying, like, if people like pray about that, I don't think necessarily we should, in a sense, pray for it, but pray for pray for the Creator to work on us so we can receive it. Like, I
yes,
think you have to word it differently. Like,
yeah.
God, my husband, bring me a man. Like,
But you
no,
need to make sure that you're ready to receive that man and you know that you,
in the right mindset, in the
right.
right spirit to receive that. Because obviously there's something within us that's preventing us. Like, the devil out here working too.
Mm-hmm.
And really conflicting our mind with things that we think we want and deserve, and we don't settle.
Yeah.
Whatever
I
you
like
want.
I like that closing point. That was great. Don't settle just because mm, um they have passed your checklist of if they're marriage potential. Don't that it's a lot more
It
than
is.
just that little checklist that you keep by the side of your bed. Um, and I think that if, like we both said, if you really work on yourself, the only marriage potential that you need to focus on is you. Because once you are in tune with who you are and what you're going to expect and receive, um, then that person is going to fall in line with you. And if, once we're in line, everything else will fall into place. So I
Yes.
really feel like, we started off talking about if the man is marriage potential, and we got onto the track of making sure that we were marriage potential so that we
Mm-hmm.
can attract the right man. And I'm excited about this. And I thank you guys for watching. And we will
Yes.
see you guys next Monday on our YouTube channel. So make sure you like and subscribe and check us out on Instagram. Our Instagrams will be posted below. So bye, everybody.
Peace.